Greetings, friends. Welcome to CTUCC ConferenceCast, the January 16th, 2014, the regular podcast of the Connecticut Conference of the United Church of Christ. Whoever you are, and wherever you may be on life's journey at this very moment, you are welcome here. We begin this week's conference cast with this meditation from the Reverend Dr. Tom Clough, Eastern Regional Minister. In the 49th chapter of the prophet Isaiah, we hear these words. God says, "It is too light a thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the survivors of Israel. I will give you as a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth."
In these words from the prophet Isaiah, we find a song of hope and challenge being sung by the prophet to a people who were terribly afraid that their very identity as God's chosen people was soon to be erased by their Babylonian captivity. Now, this could have been a battle song calling them to violent insurrection, a call to rise up in revolt against the heathen Babylonians, a call to arms, to protect their women and children and all that was holy. This servant song does use the imagery of swords and arrows, but only as a metaphorical way of stressing the power of God's actual weapon of choice to save the Hebrew nation. The awesome power of the words of a prophet. Isaiah's servant song could have been a call to all of the true believers in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to strap on their Glock 9 holsters, to snap in their high-capacity ammunition magazines, so that they might be adequately prepared to destroy those forces of evil that threaten all that we hold dear. Fear and agonizing anxiety have always been a part of human existence. The question is not, do we have good reasons to be afraid? We live in a world filled with opportunities to get badly hurt. The question for us as Christians is, how does God want us to respond to the darkness that is very much out there? In this servant song, the prophet Isaiah makes God's desired response to the darkness abundantly clear. I will give you as a light to the nations. In 1963, at the height of the civil rights struggle, the prophet, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., made God's desired response to the darkness abundantly clear when he wrote, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. The chain reaction of evil, hate begetting hate, wars producing more wars, must be broken, or we shall be plunged into the dark abyss of annihilation." Today's gun control debate is inextricably rooted in the profound, though seldom articulated, fear of annihilation. Uninhibited access to assault weapons is one way that we humans attempt to deal with this fear. In the 51 years since the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. offered us these prophetic words, the daily headlines of our lives have shown us time and time again that uninhibited access to assault weapons will never be the way to break the chain of evil, to keep us from plunging into the dark abyss of annihilation. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Only love can do that.
Here is a prayer for this week.
Holy God, who brings us light to begin each new day, help us to be your light in the darkness, your love that may break the chain reaction of evil. Amen.
In the news this week, yesterday, January 15th, was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 85th birthday. On Monday, the state and the nation will pause to remember the cause of justice for which he raised his voice so eloquently and for which he died at the hands of an assassin. The commission that organizes the observance in Connecticut has asked churches and other civic organizations to ring their bells at noon on Monday, January 20th, to honor the work for social justice that has been done and to reflect upon and commit to the work that still must be done. When you visit the Avon Congregational Church UCC, it quickly becomes clear that this church values the service it provides to the community. Spend 5 minutes talking with members and you will hear the word service half a dozen times. And on a Sunday morning in January, they gave over the worship hour to service in a day of caring, spending 10 minutes to root themselves in prayer and then setting to work. Last weekend, projects included preparing food for the local soup kitchen, making valentines for overseas military personnel, painting signs for the Mattatuck hiking trail, and preparing quilts and blankets for area shelters and services for the needy. Using Sunday morning helps people who may not be able to volunteer their time during other days of the week. Church member Betsy Van Loon says she needs her worship time but also recognizes the gift of service. You have to be realistic, she says. Traditional worship doesn't seem to fit in our culture anymore, but get people to church and then we'll work on it. And so, with interim pastor, the Reverend Martha Chenault, we offer these words with which she commissioned the Day of Caring. Let us all go now to demonstrate our love for God in the acts of caring. Registration is now open for Silver Lake Conference Center's summer program. There are 36 offerings this year for children entering grades 4 through 12, plus 2 family conferences and 1 for a youngster attending with their mom. In addition, there are 3 service conferences: Pioneer, which helps to get the facility ready for the summer, plus 2 service conferences, 1 in Maine and 1 in South Dakota. Some of these conferences at Silver Lake center around games, others around hiking, others around service, some around music, others around biking, and all around fun.
It's crazy cold out, Tim.
I know, Ann. I can't even feel my toes. But you know what I'm really psyched for?
What, sledding down the hill on an old camp mattress?
I'm really totally excited for summer at Silver Lake. I can't wait for those kids to come down the driveway ready to take the plunge and spend a week at their new favorite place in the world.
And even if some are not so sure, I'm excited for them too.
Because they don't even know yet what a great time is in store for them.
All the songs they're going to sing, all the swimming.
Toasting marshmallows, all the ways they'll just get to be themselves and be accepted.
And make new friends.
We can't wait for you to come to Silver Lake, so sign up today, www.silverlakect.org.
Come to the place that can change your life. Really, this summer, Silver Lake.
We can't wait.
Blessings flow down to people of faith at Silver Lake.
We encourage local churches to designate a Silver Lake Sunday to recognize last summer's participants and to make sure that their young people get every opportunity to love God, love one another, and love themselves this summer at Silver Lake. The Sing Praise Reunion and Worship will be this weekend at First Church in Woodbridge. Hartford Seminary and Asylum Hill Congregational Church offer the Bible and the Quran on January 29th in Hartford. Pastoral Relations Committees help foster healthy congregations and healthy clergy. A training session for committee members and pastors will be held on February 1st in Deep River. Comfort Food for the Journey 2, a day retreat for clergy women, will be February 4th in Hartford. And that same evening, Stepping Stones presents From Interview to Offer, Engaging an Effective Job Search in Southington. Make sure to set aside the 1st of March, when we'll hold Super Saturday, a day of workshops, fellowship, and celebration for church members and leaders, featuring this year a keynote address from Diana Butler Bass. We're holding this in concert with the Massachusetts Conference, and so we'll be gathering in Ludlow, Massachusetts. Registration is open for the New England Women's Celebration, which runs March 28th through 30th in Portland, Maine. Discounted registration has been extended to January 31st, but don't delay. Learn more and register at uccwomenscelebration.org. The Farmington Valley Association and Simply Smiles are teaming up for a mission trip to the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Reservation in South Dakota beginning May 3rd. And Silver Lake will host an open house for those interested in learning more about its summer program on May 4th. Remember, you can always learn more about what's coming up in the Connecticut Conference by visiting us at ctucc.org/events. And that brings this conference cast to a close. Thanks to Tom Clough for his reflection and to GarageBand for our music. Primary funding for ConferenceCast comes from your congregation's gifts to our church's wider mission, Basic Support, changing lives through the United Church of Christ. This is Eric Anderson, the Minister of Communications and Technology for the Connecticut Conference of the United Church of Christ, praying that your days this week may be filled with the presence, the guidance, and the grace of God.